Hello, my name is Andrew, welcome to my channel. It's a channel dedicated to software engineering and in particularly solving my problems. I have a few problems regarding my YouTube channel, which has some videos which should appear daily. So I have a script which generates something. I upload that something and it takes time, a lot of time. I would say it can be easier. And the reason solution I made a few streams ago, it's to create pipeline which will solve a few interactions issues I have. And let's check review to the side. Here it is. So every morning I must execute some SSH, go to script, execute other stuff, approve it manually, and it takes time. It also requires me to present, and I'm not happy about it. So a while ago, like 6 years ago, I managed to create some Python pipelines. Let me check if it's still alive somewhere. Firefox, hello. Yeah, here it is. Where is it? API, I need UI. Yes, here it is. So a while ago it had UI, and I could arrange which action, block, whatever happens. I could check its input, output, and it was quite straightforward. Unfortunately, it had some problems with arrays. What if output of this operation is array of images, for example? And in 6 years ago, I couldn't solve it. Here it is. A while ago, I had the API with, I think, Python. Yes. It's Django. And there was Celery. I think, yes, there was Redis. Let's say today I'm no longer limited in that kind of technology stack. That's the reason why I decided to do a bit different architecture. That architecture, it's one binary file, shared storage, and multicast DNS. Obviously, there should be Grafana for some graphs, reports. Since it's my personal project, I would not like to invest a lot of efforts into Slack integrations and other stuff. I'll use Telegram because I used to work with it. I'm not active user, but it's quite simple solution. And this is architecture I have right now. Let's see if I can make it bigger. No, I cannot, unfortunately. So it's all about, I have one binary, another binary, there is somewhere shared storage in the middle, and I have multicast DNS, which it's discovery mechanism. I don't need service registry, I don't need some Redis caches. There is binary, it announces itself, another binary, I can discover it. Shared storage, it's a good solution in order to solve another problem. What if some pipeline has problems in the middle? For example, Image generation pipeline will have censorship. It will also produce some quite odd results. In Sunday, I think this Sunday, there was a text. It's about Michelangelo creating his masterpiece. And DALL-E simply censored everything. DALL-E yielded, I cannot generate image of David because... and censorship bullshit. I don't need it. So if pipeline dies, I have all its results in shared storage, which means if some model cannot do something because it's censorship bullshit, I can switch this pipeline to another model, which can simply take input and resume. That's what I would like to do. It's about some sort of resilience, ability to survive things. And I think it's in the end. Yeah, here it is. In previous stream, I have defined the way how workers will communicate each other, how they will resume processing in case if they have no GPU, for example, or something else. It's possible that OpenAI callings or another models which requires external communication will be out of my current infrastructure. For example, where is it? Where is it file? So I have this. Yeah. Let me let it make it smaller. So this is my infrastructure. Quite old laptop on top. It's 4 cores, I think, maybe 2 cores. Let me check. 10 years old laptop. Yes, it's not that. I don't remember its IP, but it's somewhere. It's alive. There is a laptop below. That thing right now takes care about video generation itself. And there is another PC. It's when it's hardware I use for gaming, streaming, and also engineering. Recently, I used to run some Stable Diffusion on it, but it was not good. However, it can run text models. It has enough hardware for that kind of problems. Also, I have another thing. This one. It's Raspberry Pi. It is already working. Let me check if I can connect it. History. Where was it? So I'll share my terminal. Text. Yeah, there is 1 core and 400 whatever megabytes of memory. I'll increase. Yeah. So this device should be used as cron top because it's always on. It's powered by USB from somewhere, and I can't show you. Okay, that's tough. This is it. The device. Focus. Yeah, focus doesn't work. And to solve some problems related to... I don't have a case for it. And I have this it's a cup. It's quite interesting. And Raspberry Pi lives in a cup. Now I need to set it up somehow. That's my hardware. So this machine will be running cron tabs because it's always on. It can wake on LAN laptops. Laptops has connection, batteries, and settings to wake on LAN when network access required, such as SSH. Also, this Raspberry will have credentials for some OpenAI requests. I know for sure that OpenAI has good solution for voice stuff, so I can provide some audio file, and OpenAI has model to make transcriptions, so big file can be split to JSON in order to show some sentences, etc. So let me show you a few things in there. I think it was here. Yeah. So it and that, then I do JSON sort document. Here it is. So I have some text, but what's important, this audio file can be transcribed into different segments, such as first sentence, second sentence, third, and it's quite organic one. So there is big text like this. It was input, it was audio, and it produced some sentences and chunks, which sounds quite good. That's the purpose of Raspberry Pi for now. It's input for at 7 a.m. Let's trigger this pipeline. It will contain credentials for OpenAI, because I don't want these credentials on laptops. And what's important is that in previous stream I have created a schema about worker communication. This is how it is done. I have a client, in this case it's Raspberry Pi, which sends to any of discovered workers request, hello, there is pipeline, let's trigger it. And then worker yields some results, okay, I'm processing it, and it processes blocks. When a worker has problems, there is no open access from laptop, it checks, hello, is there any other hardware in the network which has this OpenAI access? And some worker might yield a response, yes, I have it. And that is the moment when worker 1 must say, okay, worker 2, now you process this pipeline. There is a shared storage, obviously, so every result is there. Worker do not need anything except pipeline block and location. So I have this in here, I think, yeah. So let's assume this block, OpenAI chat completion, was triggered in old laptop, any of my laptops, because OpenAI is not enabled on those laptops. There is no file with credentials, detection won't work. It will mark the block as not accessible, but Raspberry Pi will run the same binary, which means all I need to do is to ask Raspberry Pi to run pipeline at this stage, maybe at this. For example, Raspberry Pi cannot for sure run audio join, audio merge to video. It's quite heavy operation. This block is disabled in Raspberry Pi. And I also have defined interface for that. Let me check it. It was I think resume processing. Yes. Where is this function? No. There was a schema. Here it is. So there is a schema which describes which pipeline, which block should be processed. It's possible that for some debug purposes, I can execute pipeline at some stage without need of providing some default data. For example, here, first block, it has input and hard-coded prompt, but I can call it as input config, and they say in text, for example, I can make it curl post minus, yeah, like this, and it will work. But for now, I have defined it in here. So pipeline can be resumed on another hardware without any complications. All I need is a processing ID, pipeline ID itself, and block which must be processed, because this block cannot be processed on worker 1. And I had another schema. Yes, it was about it. It's just the same with different perspective. So at this stream, I wanted to show how shared worker registry was made. And so let's do it. Let me close a few things. First of all, I had to add a few things. cd make start. I'll start this binary. Yes, it started. Nice. So that means I can go to Firefox. So let's say I have workers. It's not found a way. Oh, here it is. So I have workers. It's an endpoint which simply goes to multicast DNS, check what's there. And right now, this binary is here. It says that it is available. Startup of this binary has been completed. It's available. It has some version, but what's most important, it says, okay, I have these blocks enabled. That would be misleading. I have these blocks detected. That means this hardware allows these blocks. If I have GPU on this laptop, I would have some text generation, LLM, whatever, but since this laptop is quite old, it doesn't have that kind of capability. It has no this block. This information, it's assembled into, so I have worker, which says, okay, there is a new server. New server says, okay, I have worker registry. I have pipeline registry. I have block registry. There are 3 different registries. It's important because pipeline registry, it's just a thing which parses a list of files like this, a list of JSONs, and it validates stuff. Then I have block registry. It's, I think, hard-coded stuff. Yes, here it is. I have HTTP block in this particular binary. I have another block. Even if it's not detected, it will be in here. It's important. For example, yeah, there is a map in binary itself. I have not described anywhere. And I say, okay, HTTP block, you must run detector. Here is the function to run the detector, but what's important, detector itself, first of all, this block, it's a singleton block registry. I wanted to exist in a single instance, but it has functions named start. This function is quite simple. It's a watcher. For example, my config here, it describes some blocks, and it says, okay, there is detector for HTTP request. Every minute make check. So through the lifetime of binary, every block will run checks. If this block cannot be executed for any reason, for example, OpenAI chat completion, it will run checks once a minute. If I have removed credentials or I have rotated those credentials, it will mark this block as not available. So by default, it's not available. So let me check if this function... yes. So I have ticker. It's a function which runs in coroutine in eternal forever loop, except there is a stop channel, there is shutdown method. So once a minute, it checks if credentials for OpenAI are valid. If connection can be established, then mark this block as available. So every worker will have access to another worker. Let's say blocks. Here it comes. For example, this is, can I do it like this? Yeah, so good. This is the worker which I have executed in terminal. It says, okay, I have available HTTP request. Another OpenAI has said, okay, I have it enabled. If I rotate credentials in OpenAI, it will say, no way, I did not implement OpenAI completion as I wanted. So this only checks that host is available. But let's go further. It's here. New server, Worker Registry. So this is a singleton which has a few methods. I have implemented a registry in here, and it's done quite odd, I would say. It's generic. I had to do it. I tried to solve it via interfaces, but there are problems. So I had to introduce a generic into Golang. It was painful. I didn't want it, but there was no simple solution. And now it works. It looks like this. Where is that worker? So I have this one. These 3 lines. Interfaces, registry, and then I pass what this registry main type of, what it works with. And somewhere in the end, yes, I have methods for the server. Says, okay, there is a registry, and I cast the type of this interface. It's quite odd solution, but it exists, and it works. It works with following things. There are a few methods, and most interesting is shutdown. So I decided to implement it because I have Go routines. Where is that worker registry? I think it's here. It's empty here. Yes, it was in one of my other block registry. Yes, there is shut down. So block registry, because it has Go routines, which triggers once per whatever config set, it must stop those Go routines to make it exit gracefully. So I call stop and it works. As for this one, it has the same mapping of workers, whatever, but it has a function named resume processing. The interface of my solution, I think it's in a pipeline Go here. Yes. So I have process function which does the following. It takes blocks, figures out which block must be processed, then it checks, is this block available locally? If it is, then it works. If it's not, then the call should be simple. So the simple call is I get worker registry. It's a singleton. It's like instant operation. And then I say worker registry, resume processing this pipeline. You have this processing ID. It's directory in shared storage. And use this block as a point to resume. Here is this function. The problem, I have implemented a method for get valid workers, which means it's quite big thing. I need to simplify it. So it's quite straightforward. I have list of workers. I visit every worker. In here you can see that workers. Yes, I have a worker which is available true. So in this code I'm checking that worker is available. If so, then first step of validation, it has been passed. Then I'm checking, is this worker having blocks declared in multicast DNS, like here? This JSON contains the block which I'm interested in. It's not block from /blocks. Right now, it takes it from multicast. It's important. After that, I'm checking, okay, this block is declared as available, as detected, not available, detected. And then I have another cycle which does a few things. First of all, it checks pipelines of the worker. It's an HTTP request. So each worker has a list of pipelines. Pretty print. Okay. So this is the pipeline. And there are some blocks, whatever. Yeah. So this is a pipeline from YAML file. I have to check if it's available for this worker. It might be not available there. I'll have to deal with it a bit later, because I have shared storage. What if each worker has access to shared storage, which means why do I need to check it this? But it's to discuss later. So I'm checking that, and if this pipeline is enabled, I'm checking blocks. Yeah, here. This code also checks blocks. Block must be available. it must be detected. Here it is. So I have available true. Here I have available true. It should work. And this code has test. The test was quite big. I'm not happy with that. I think it... Wow, let's move this. Here is the test. So I declare some pipeline. I declare some block. I say, okay, there is new block and it's available by default. So let's run this test. It works. Yeah. So then I say, okay, there is mock server. I mock the worker interface. This one you saw a few seconds ago. It's what I'm doing here. And I say, okay, mock server. You have a few things. First of all, it's quite complicated. Mock server can process some, let's say, endpoints. It's in the end of this file. This is what I'm doing. I'm telling, okay, there is /pipelines and content for this endpoint will be this. There are blocks, /blocks. Content will be this. And what I'm doing, it's one function which yields me simple map for this. And I have big function for mock server. Its parameters quite straightforward. I have body, which is default response if nothing has been passed. I have status code for this response. But what's interesting, I have decided to do it as an optional stuff, body mapping. It's /blocks, /pipelines, and here it is. Check if requested path in the body map. So every time I'm requesting from mock server /pipelines, I have this. Each time I'm requesting /blocks, I have this. It is a mock to simulate a worker. So in this case, I might call it like worker 1, whatever, but I'm not happy with this test. I will have to split it because it's just the beginning. I need to parse its URL, remove some stuff, and then I have to announce it as discovered. Here it is, discovered via multicast. So I am also telling, okay, there is Worker Registry. This server, which is mocked, I say it is discovered. Here it is. I'm mocking two workers. First worker, it has this block. It has the block which I'm passing, but it's available false. This worker announced itself, but it's not ready to serve whatever it cannot serve pipelines. But this worker, it's also announced this block and it's available true. It's important. And then I say, okay, discovered workers, I have you. I register it in Worker Registry. And then I make a test for this function, get valid workers. Here it is. What am I not happy about? It's a big test, first of all. I tried to minify it. It's it's a unit test. It should not be that big. Unit test should test a few things. First of all, it should test functions. Functions like this. And then functions like this. So get query worker API. So yes, this is what it should test. Where are you? Yeah. So I have two functions, get worker pipelines and get worker blocks. It's making queries. And let's make it a unit test, because I'm not happy with the size of the thing. It's quite big. Let's make it get worker pipelines first of all. Test get worker pipelines. What I have? Pipeline slug, yes, block ID. I don't need block ID. I have mock server, correct. And this server should not have any blocks. Let's keep it, yeah, let's keep it block ID. But here I need simply, I don't need anything. It's worker 1. Then I say worker 1 URL. I have worker registry, it's correct. Then I have discovery, that's also correct. But in this case, I don't need this. I need one entry. I don't need that. Correct. And now I need to test a function, worker registry. Get worker pipelines. What it wants? First of all, it needs a worker. So I can say discovered workers 0, because it's an interface, it should be working. What's wrong? It yields to anything. Two things, pipelines and error. Then not empty pipelines. It should be a certain error. Then pipelines should be 1. And then I should say, okay, pipelines. Pipeline ID, I think. Yeah, pipeline slug. Should have something like slug equals pipeline slug. So what's wrong here? Of course. Let's just run this test. It works. That's not good. That means, let's try it differently. Not equal. Yes, now this test should fail. It fails. Perfect. 197. 34. So this test works. It's a unit test for one method, but I'm not happy again. Why do I need to mock the server? It's a unit test. So I have a method which unit test. It's about let's test this function. It's not about let's test how worker API queries / pipelines, whatever, because in here it makes network access. To be honest, this is functional test. So let's move it to functional tests. Yes, I'll have to move it to functional test. By the way, let's copy it. Let's copy this and call it, because I have tested worker pipelines, now I need to check worker blocks. Pipeline block worker. There is discard entries. I need one entry. Yes, and here I need one entry. I don't need everything. Get valid workers. No, get worker blocks. What should it take as an input? Worker. Discard workers 0. Yes, this is correct. It has blocks. Error then. Set null error, not empty blocks. Len blocks should be 1 because here I have one block. Blocks. Let's say blocks lag. Dot map string interface ID, not ID but ID. Yeah, should equal block ID. So let's run this test. If it works, yes, it doesn't work. Beautiful. So the problem is in here. Test block ID. So I have a new block ID. Did I check Slack? It should be here. No. Let's go to Firefox. It's blocks. I have ID, name, description, whatever. HTTP request. In here I have block ID, test block. No, it will be HTTP request. Not here, but here. Which means HTTP request, yes. Let's run this test. It should fail. I hope it will fail. Yeah, because it's this one. And ta-da, it works. Yes, it works. So I made a request to some mocked worker, which has been registered through multicast DNS. It was discovered. It marks itself as available true. So if I say false, this test will not work. It works. Why does it work? First of all, oh, I know, it's possible caching. So in here, I'm checking workers available. If it's available, then I add it to valid workers. Yes, it should not be available. What's wrong with this test worker blocks? Let's run it like this. It should clean cache. No, it's passing. So this is block availability. Let's say it's true. The problem is here. It was advertised as available false, but in here it is available true. So let's panic. Panic with get available. What's wrong with this? I made panic in the middle of... Jesus Christ. I'm panicking in valid workers. I do not panic in get worker blocks. It's different function. Okay. So I made this worker to appear in a registry. I registered it. So get worker blocks. Maybe I don't need this at all. No, I need it because I'm making new worker of it. So I don't need it here. I mean, I do need it here, but let's check if it works. Yes, it works, so I don't need it to register it. Because I'm passing this worker into get worker blocks. That's correct. So I don't need it here. That's good. So in this case, in this test, I also don't need it. I don't need to register it. Let's run this test. It works. It's good. It's a thing which checked how those blocks were retrieved. But in this case, let's also test another thing. I need to check So I have this block fetched. I'm checking that its ID is correct. I also need to check that it was marked as available or not. In here, it was set as available. Because it's a function which parses JSON. Yeah, so it's available. I'm happy with that. But what if I do the following? What if I say, false? It fails. Beautiful. That's correct. So I reverted. Now I need to do a few things. First of all, in Python, it's quite straightforward. I could use decorator to make some parameters, whatever. Let's check what happens for Golang. This framework is a stretcher testify, I think. Let me check main test. What is this? Yes, testify suite. So I need to visit documentation and check how they make parameters. Because it's possible that I will have to do a cycle for in here. Like this. And yes, this is what I will have to do. It's like for available, then I need to do this test. Assert equal. I'm not happy about it, to be honest, but we have what we have. Will it work? Oh, it works. Beautiful. If I say true, false, false, true, true, it used to take yeah, it did work. Yes, so it did work, so let me return it back. It does work for multiple availabilities, which is good. In here I have parse. In here I have parsing of request body into something. That something is interface, but in here I say there are some mapping, you should parse it and you should return it. So this is the reason why I had to check if blocks available or not. Now I have another thing, it's in here. Get worker registry valid or not. So this function, let's run it. What? It works. If I mark this worker, let's call it worker 1. Where is it? Okay. Ah, it's here. If I mark it as false, this should fail. It fails. Beautiful. And it fails at case this one. There were no available workers because every multicast discovered worker is available false, available false. So I'll make it available true. It should be passing. Yes, it passes. It also takes a while, but I'm fine with that. Then the problem, it's a big test and it is not a unit test, it's functional test. And it is time to do a few things. I have functional test. Now I need to make new file. Worker registry test.go, declare it package functional test. I think it's good to copy paste it because that's 100% functional test as well as this. It works with discoveries, it works with HTTP requests, it's not just query worker API. So these two tests must be moved to functional. Yeah, this is unit test, it tests one function. This is not. So let me copy paste it, I mean cut it. From here to here, then I need to do a few other things, such as where the test, pipeline test, yeah. rename this. Then I had a few things. I have main test, it's here, and main test here. Main functional, and here main unit. So the test I have copied here doesn't have function get mock HTTP server. I have it here. What do I need to do? In perfect case, I need to copy paste that and see no problems. It's possible that I need to create separate parent for functional and unit tests, but there will be difference between setup suite and teardown, because unit tests are just simple. Functional test is a test where I have to mock network communication, and in that particular case, making common parent, it will be quite tough. Because if I need to mock something, there will be interface of parent, which should be inherited. Yeah, let's copy paste and think about it later. I will copy paste a few things. First of all, it has mutex, good. It has suite, good. It has server, that's the difference. Functional test have one test for server to check it's here. Pipeline test, yeah. So I'm making get server in functional tests. That get server produces a few things. First of all, server factory, new server, it makes registries. If I do it in parent for unit and for functional test, it will take eternity. Also, there are registries, yes, host echo and multicast dance. So I will not do that thing. I will copy paste and have no problems later. Config test servers, I have it here. That's awesome. Let's move it. But I have no setup suite. How is it different? Nearly no difference. Teardown. I have functional test, has a graceful shutdown, graceful time second. Setup test. There is difference. I'm fine with that. But I need this method, get mock HTTP server. Here it is. I will copy paste it. I do not need this. Let's check. What else? Get mock server handlers response. Yes, obviously. Let's copy paste that as well. Call it functional test suite. Yep. And get test pipeline. And this is a function. I think it will also take yeah, now this should pass. Yeah, victory. Functional test added to check network communication. Good. So I'm 1 minute. I have 1 minute for the stream. I hope it didn't take too much. It wasn't boring. But the thing I will have to do till Friday. Oh no, Saturday, it's Wednesday today. Implement shared worker registry and resume processing. So I made shared worker registry with tests, with network communication. That means it's completed, let's say 30%. The reason why it's not 50%. Worker Registry. I have unit test for this and this. I have functional unit test also for this. Oh, by the way, let me check a few things. Functional. Where is that's unit? Yeah, good. So Worker Registry. This function is tested in functional tests, but it's not covered in unit tests. I'm not happy. Let's make it. Because if I lose it, obviously, because let's make an error here. Let's say return error. Checking implementation, and then whoa, what's wrong? I don't need debug. I need to go here and run file tests. They should fail. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Yes, everything failed. Beautiful. That means this function is covered in functional test, but it's not covered in unit test. How to solve this function? To solve this problem? What's there? Debug. I didn't call debug. I'll add it here because I'm not happy about a few things. Test query worker API. How it should be done. Yeah, it should be simple done like this. That's what I do not like. So I have some worker with some pipelines and blocks. I'm making a registry. Then I say this worker will be discovered as this. It has host name, which means there will be network call. And I say, okay, it is discovered. Then I say worker registry. Query worker API. Like this. So I have pipelines, let's say blocks. Yes. Query worker API, worker 1. Pipelines. Yes. Then I say sweet nil error. That's correct. First of all, I need to know this. Then I should check that pipelines, it's not empty. Then I should do the same with worker. No, it will be a registry. Yeah. I said, I should say this. And I should do the same for blocks. Let's run this test. It should work, but it's also functional test. Good. So I have a problem. Discard entries here. It's empty. It should say HTTP block from here. Now this test should work. It works. Nice. So why do I think it's functional test? Because it makes network call to an entity which has been discovered, defined in registry, and I'm checking two network calls, such as blocks and workers. And I'm not happy about it. How to make it easier? First of all, I need to utilize a function which was main unit test. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, even better. I had it in pipeline registry, I think. Yeah, here. So I used to start simple server with some straightforward response, just like this. But in here, I'm making server with endpoints. Okay, it's fine. The problem, I do not like this one. It's possible that I do not need this in this test. Discovered worker. Let's say worker. Entry. Registry worker. Yeah, that will be better. And here I can say I can say zero conf. Where is it? Yeah, service entry. Registry worker entry. Yes, and here I can say like this. And now it seems to be correct. But a few more things. Let's run this test. It works. What I'm not happy again, it's about this too much. That means I need a factory. I have it here. Yeah. So let's make a factory. Let's call it worker registry entry factory, which yields me interfaces worker, and I should respond with this. What it's not happy about, data classes, new worker. It's wrong. That. Also, let's make a few things in here. First of all, I have host name. That means worker factory should respect parameter of endpoint, like this API endpoint, maybe even better API URL, which is string. And then here I can say factories dot worker, let's say new worker. Yeah, that's, I think, better. Factories, new worker, serious entry. Okay. What should I pass here? First of all, it's worker1.url. This code no longer needed here because I move it here. Maybe I shouldn't call it worker1, I should call worker server. And now I can say http test server and its pointer. Yes, that is correct. Now I can say worker server URL. That's correct. It yields me worker as well as error. Return nil error, nil error, this one and nil. That's good. Also, I'm missing one of parameters such as block ID and available, true or false. Let's mark it here. Available and yeah, block IDs, which is, let's make it a list of strings. And here I can say like this, and in here I can also say block IDs. No, I need join block IDs. String joins. Yes, that's how it should be. What's wrong here? Should it be the... I don't remember. Like this. Let's check what it was not happy about. Wrong time ball. Okay. Yeah, it was there. So that's thing I think it will solve a lot of problems and make tests less. Oh no, what have I done? Let's copy this also to the top. Given worker registry, worker server. I have worker server. Let's make it factory later. Because in here I have factories, worker entry, which accepts worker server, available true, and yeah, also it has an error. It should be set no error. So this test should work. Let's check. I would be happy if it's not working. It works. I'm not happy. Let's make a mistake. Let's do the following. I'm checking worker API. Yeah, port. Let's increase port to 1. Yeah, now it should fail because port of real instance is away. Yes, get URL and what's there? Can I scroll it? And no, I cannot, unfortunately. But there is an error and I'm happy with it, which means if I return it back, then this test should work. Yes, so there is another way how to improve this thing. This one. I have function get mock server, and I have a factory which passes this server to worker. Like I'm getting the worker from server. What if I join two these things into one? There will be only one flow. This function will have to accept this. Also, it will have to accept. Yeah, this is solution. So I have new worker registry entry, which accepts server. What if it will not accept server, but it will return this server in exchange for something? It should be another factory. Another factory, let's call it new worker registry, new worker server. Okay, it should yield the server itself. What I would like to do is to say worker, what was it? Worker registry entry, as well as worker server, error equals to factories new worker with mock. Wow. Something like this. Then I say this is the function which will yield me the server itself. And this is handlers, which contains schemas. Okay. Then, yeah, it's already getting out of hand because it's accepting too much parameters. But it's interesting. So I have function new worker server. It yields me HTTP server, but there is nothing. Let's remove this. Let's check this one. Get mock HTTP server. This is the function. So let's make it here. the signature of this function? That's good. That means this is the function I'm passing there. Then I need to pass parameters for this function. They will be this. There is a small difference, but what's important, I would like to join two of these things into one function call. So let's say I have a worker server, which yields me literally worker server as well as worker entry. And here it yields me headed by server as well as interfaces worker and error. So I return this function, then I need to return new worker registry entry. Yeah, this is a server. Now I need to pass worker server. And here I should say if worker is available or not. By the way, I don't need to pass any body as well as status code, because body will be empty, status code will be... It was HTTP okay, but okay. Yes, status okay. What else? Worker available and a list of block ID. That's block IDs. Okay, it seems to be correct, but let's check again. Server function. It is here. Worker available. True. Block IDs. Here. Worker server. It should be not null. Not new worker entry. They are both. Yep. Now I need to say worker entry in here. That's good. The idea with get mock HTTP server, why I passed it like that, it's because I have close. Yes, this function adds it to suite to the list of HTTP servers, which when test is tears down, it's calling close method. That's important. And now I need to check if this works. This kind of monstrosity. And it does work. Beautiful. Let's make mistake. Let's assume it's not status OK, but status internal error. Will it work? I think it should work. Yeah, it should work with only one problem. This statuses, it's to check inside of the code itself here. I should check if request status code is not status OK, then I should yield some error. That's the only place when status will be respected. So now this test should fail. It fails. Beautiful. This is Worker Registry. Because it's my domain, I can say for sure I will check the status code. And this is okay. Status okay. What was it? This one. That means I need to pass this test status here. Now in here I should say HTTP status okay. Yes, it works. The reason why I did it, it's to test if my worker yields HTTP whatever, then this test should fail. And it's also important that it's nice to replace this with one function call. I don't like this as well as this, to be honest. So let's do it. I think this will be the last thing before scheduling next stream, what it will be about. So it's quite boring, but necessary. Let's make it. So given block availability, okay, here it is. First of all, let's ensure this test works. It works. Nice. That means worker URL, worker registry. I do not need this. How much lines? 170 lines. Is that true? Wow. So 170 lines, which I am not sure. Let's check. 3 lines. Where is it? 4 lines. Okay, more than 10 lines for sure. "62 lines were replaced by 31 line. Twice less code. That's awesome. I like it. So what I have here. First of all, let's check what it used to be. HTTP status OK. Good. Get mock HTTP server from this suite. It's functional test suite. Oh, awesome. It's here. Then I had block ID, pipeline slug. Yes, it was something inside. Let's copy it. Yes, the same. Now I need to do a few things. What else it used to be? Worker registry, get worker blocks. Good. It's worker entry now. Also, where is worker registry? Yep, on top. That's all. Let's check that this test works. I hope it will not work. It works. Okay, let's make a mistake in this test. Let's say here status OK, but gateway. Let's run it. It's broken. Beautiful. Status OK. Now I can replace test below. I don't need this monstrosity. Where was it? Worker registry. Yeah, let's copy it on top. So this was about test get valid worker. Oh, that's good. It's quite big chunk of job. In here I have one worker. Let's do this. There will be a few things to work with. So, discovered entries. It used to contain one broken local host which is not available. That's important. And the second, this should be replaced by worker entry. Oh, no, I don't need it. Because I can do this. First discovered worker, it's absolutely unavailable thing which should not be there. The second discovered entry, it's a valid worker from factory. Then I say, okay, registry, add these workers and then get valid workers, which is absolutely correct. And let's simply run this test. I hope it will fail, because in this case, I'm sure that everything is correct. It's working with nothing to run. What? It worked. Okay, let's break it. Let's break it saying status invalid, insufficient internal server error. Now it should fail. it fails. Beautiful. So it fails at this line. There are no workers because first worker is not available, and second worker, it has internal server error. Beautiful. And now it should work because second server says I'm online, I'm available. Yes, successful. Let's commit this because I think it was, yes, this is last, this is yes, and wait a second, I have another test. Beautiful. Get worker blocks given worker 1. I need simply copy paste. I don't need worker 1. Oh, by the way, let's run this test to ensure that everything works. And it stayed in the beginning of change work was fine. Yes, it works. Let's edit this. So worker server, worker entry, that's correct. There are 0 blocks. Discovered entries. First entry. I don't need it. Because I have worker entry. Let's run this test. It works, but no, it doesn't work. Something happened to test execution. And it works. Let's break it. Let's say status bad gateway. It should fail. Yes, it fails. Awesome. That means functional tests are using new factory. I'm happy about it. Unit tests, test query, worker API. To be honest, it's also a functional test because it's making network call through mocked entry, but there is one thing. It's testing the function itself, query worker API. It's not testing this method because this method is query itself. So let's assume it's unit test. Now I say it's 50% complete. So the next stream will be September 14. By the way, I forgot one thing. Work in progress. Using yes, always push your changes. I would like to split this function. Yeah, this function is quite long. I'm not happy about it. So get valid workers. First of all, what is valid workers? Get available workers. Let's make it. Fortunately, make test. I have all the tests, functional and unit under one make command, and I can ensure that everything works. First passes, the second also passes. That's good. Now I can make these things. We are get available workers, and I can say I don't need lock unlock in this case, because this function itself will have it. Okay, what we have? Available workers, yes. Is this copy paste of this? Get status, get available, yes. Good. Now I can. Is there a lock unlock? Yes. I have available workers. Now I can say I need workers which contains necessary blocks detected. How to say it? Workers with blocks. Get workers with blocks. First of all, I need to pass what I consider as available workers. Then I have to pass block ID. And let's make it. So what I have, workers with blocks, yes. Let's check. For ID worker, range workers, yes. Worker get status, get blocks, yes. If I have this block, then worker with blocks ID. Okay. Now I need this and this. I need workers which have necessary pipelines. So workers with pipeline equals var get workers with pipeline. So this is what I need, workers with blocks and pipeline slug. I don't need block right now. Get workers with pipeline. By the way, someone forgot. Worker blocks. There is no need of lock here because I'm working with two variables in here. Do I need this block? Yes, I need, because I'm working with workers, which is mapping. Yep. In here I do not work with it. Correct. Now function. What I have here, first of all, workers with pipeline. It's an array, correct. I arrange through workers which has declared that they have blocks detected. Then I get status, get pipelines. Absolutely incorrect. And this is the place where I need to do a few things. Oops, where are you all? Here. We are get worker pipeline. If worker used to have some error, it should not be here, as well as I iterate through its list, checking if pipelines log yes. If it is, then everything is correct. Yeah. Also, the function get worker pipelines. It's a request. Yes, there is no need to log it. By the way, why this is here? Okay. Uh-huh. Get worker with blocks detected. That's important. Get worker with blocks available. So signature of this workers block ID. Yes. But get worker blocks. So let's go to this place. And check. Get worker blocks for each worker. Yes. If error continue, for each block I need to iterate. Yes, it seems to be correct, but let's run the test. Because this function was tested by unit tests and functional tests, it should be passing. It does. Let's try it again. I have unit tests. Why is it sorting it incorrect? Yes, it did work. And let's go to this test. Beautiful. Let's try it again. It's cleaning cache, which means there won't be any possible issues. Test with race. First test, it's unit test passed, second passed. Beautiful. Work, come on, wait. Git commit functional. No, right now I have updated Worker Registry function. Decomposed. So that's the beauty of tests. If I have tests in functional as well as unit tests for multiple interactions, including network communication, that means I have no problems. What happened? I have no problems updating, decomposing crazy functions into 4 calls, removing some extra mutex calls. So right now mutex should be get available workers. Yes. Also, that means these functions must be covered by unit tests. It will be easy because I have input, I have output. It's not network call, so I'm happy about it. Next stream will be about resume processing. Where was it? Here, empty. About resume implement. It might be quite tricky one because according to schema, preview this to the side. Here, when one worker asks another to resume work, it must provide it results of previous iterations. It means shared storage must it have to have files under some directories. I think it was here. Block processing. Where was what? No, it's this. There was output. Yeah. This is save output. Right now, it's saving output to some storage. It's local storage, and for the test, it tests storage, which is mocked storage, and it means it does not have this path. It has temp slash whatever slash output. I will have to do a few things before implementation of proceed. I will need to implement first save output, update. Save output function storage, updates. First, it's local storage. It's temp file, temporary files. Under temp. It means I don't need to do anything with this because it's local files. I need to have a state of this processing. If it's a remote storage, I can say, okay, there was YouTube video generation by some processing ID. With block slug, and it used to have some file. I can track it in remote storage. But when all files located under /tmp, I cannot do it. Fortunately, this save output right now, it works. I think it's called, where is it? Wait, pipeline go, yeah. Save output works for the storage, which is in this case. This it should be inherited from where is it? Come on. pipeline registry default storage. Where is it? Yeah, pipeline registry is being it makes access to local storage because YAML this JSON file is in local storage, so it will always be under TMP. But I want to do a few things. Duplicate to remote storage. With that, I will always have I wouldn't call it resilience, but if shit happens, I have it in remote storage under this path. And then resume processing. It simply goes to remote storage, fetches everything from this processing ID. Because block slug comes in request here. It's request to resume processing. I have pipeline slug, which is here. I have a processing ID, which is here. And I have block slug, which is here. That means resume processing can simply fetch whole directory somewhere, assemble input, and proceed. So in this case, I need to duplicate, then to fetch all files from direct remote storage. It's remote shared. Let's call it mini IO. And let's say the path. Yeah, fetch all files, and obviously after fetching all files, I need to assemble those files and provide it as input. I wouldn't say assemble, map files, map those files to pipeline state. This is what I would like to do, but it's also pipeline state itself. Step 0, define pipeline state. Because right now it's only about input. If I say this, so if I say pipeline with this processing ID, you should resume from this block, it will do it blindly. It will ignore everything. I need to have a state of pipeline, but to be honest, I don't want it. To pipeline blocks according existing outputs as a, yeah, it will allow me to ignore pipeline state. Yeah, that's my plan. So save output, let's copy it, fetch all files, let's do it, map those files to existing blocks. It won't be a big deal. Yeah. And about processing. Where is it? Okay, I'll deal with it later. There was a problem with cycling. Yes, it's interface. Data classes, pipeline. Yeah, it's in here. This is where things will happen. So I'll read the file from remote storage, and then I say, okay, block data, set input to bytes of that file. That's all. That's all I would like to do. It should be simple. It should be stupid because it's best. Let me. Yeah. So thanks for joining. I hope it wasn't boring. I'm a few steps closer to the finishing of this process or this project. Process function is quite complicated. Small spoiler, there will be a problem with arrays, but I will have to do it quite simple in order to avoid extra problems. What else? And obviously, right now it's all about files. I will have to do things like UI. I will have to do things like this. UI. But I would like to do it after backend is considered working. So I will have API, which is simple, and this one, it will be different. In this case, I used to have processor which had some input and output. Those input and output, it used to be of some type. For example, file, string. There was something else named. Let's find it. Can I search here? Okay. Go to file. Let me check. I think it was inside of the schema, so there is no processor component. Yes. Yeah. Oh, new processor. Where is it? Yep. Let's go. Yeah. Layout. Where is type? Yeah, it was get processor. It was defined in backend. I think it was projects. Yeah. So I used to have some sort of processors, and there was one of them which used to detect sentiment value of some text. And it has in, out, in it was like string, out it was like number. In my current project, everything by default is file. So UI will lack of some features, fortunately, as well as unfortunately. Maybe I'll introduce it later, because to be honest, I'm where is it? Yeah, come on. I liked this option to chain blocks by its input output, but there was problem with array, so I'll take care of it later. UI will be done in a month, maybe. I'm not sure for now. I schedule it in a month, but let's see what happens. Sorry for making it like 2 hours longer, 1 hour longer than it should be. It took 2 hours Thanks for watching. Bye.